It's Song Talk Radio with Michael, Neil, Phil, and the gang.
Good evening, everybody, wherever and whenever you happen to be. Thank you for joining us on this here podcast because, you know, without you, we are nothing, actually. This is the show where we share tips on songwriting and other things songwritery, and we hope that you and us and everyone will learn a few new things about how to write better songs. My name is Phil Emery, and I'll be the host tonight. But with me, as always, are the very dedicated members of the Song Talk Radio Action team. On my left, Mr. Neil Modi. How you doing, Neil?
I'm doing quite well. I'm pretty excited for the show tonight. It's going to be a good one.
That's very good. And, of course, just to my other left is Mr. Michael Redhill. Or Michael Proudfoot.
Redhill's the author.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Right? Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But despite not being Michael Redhill, I'm still quite good, thank you.
It's very good. You know, and during the show or perhaps after, you can always stop by the website at songtalk.ca to visit, to find out more about the show, get some resources, and find out more about us, because we are awesome. And tonight we're very excited about our guest, Canadian Juno and Latin Grammy winning artist Alex Cuba has been releasing songs from his home in Smithers, British Columbia. He has amassed a steadily growing following among critics and fans with over 20 awards and nominations, including 4 Latin Grammys, 2 Juno Awards, and 3 Grammy nominations. His recently released trio of songs has received international attention, including his recent cover of the legendary Bill Withers song, Just the Two of Us, which was celebrated by no other than the Bill Withers estate. Thanks for coming on the show, Alex.
Hey, my pleasure, man. Sorry we made you read so much about me. I couldn't tell you all of it.
Welcome.
So, Alex, how did you wind up in Canada?
That was easy. I got on an airplane and I came here. No, I'm just...
Does the trick.
As you can tell, I have my trigger is fast with that question. Huh?
All right.
Well, I came here for the first time ever on tour with my father's band back in 95. Back in 95. I was 20 years old, and I was the bass player for my father's band. And while on tour, I met a beautiful Canadian woman in Vancouver. And today, 25 years later, I'm glad to tell you she's my wife.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
So that's how I got to Canada. She went down to Cuba with me. And because we got married that same year, 1995, in December, we got married. And she spent about 2 years with me in Cuba. And then we decided to come to Canada. And I've been here ever since.
Nice. It seems like that's, you know, anytime someone moves country, it's for love.
Well, I am proud of that because, you know, the immigration from a third world country into the first world country, not all the time is for love, you know. And
true that, yeah.
And it happens in many different ways. I'm not gonna look down on anybody, but I'm glad my reason was for love, because otherwise, a Caribbean body like mine would have not stand the cold in Canada if it wasn't for love. You know what I'm talking about, right?
At least you have somebody to keep you warm, right?
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell? I'm out of here. You know, enough of this. I'm back to my 35 degrees every day.
And you're in Vancouver, which is like the nice part of Canada.
Smithers is not quite the same as Vancouver. Does it?
Exactly.
So you're a bit higher up and
colder. Yeah.
Okay. No. Okay. I can totally tell that you guys have. Vancouver. Smithers. If you drive from Vancouver, is 14 hours north.
Yeah.
Oh,
north.
That's true, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. That's
and
not
the other side of the mountains.
Absolutely. And it's a little town. Smithers is a little town of 5,000 people.
Wow.
In a valley, in the Berkeley Valley, beautiful, surrounded by amazing mountains. And we have an airport here. Air Canada flies in. That's the only way of being able to function as a musician from here, because the airport is like 4 minutes away from me. That is never a line up. I see the plane go over my roof. That's when I go to the airport. With my boarding passes,
All right.
So were you
well.
writing songs, Alex, when you were part of your father's band, or did the songwriting thing start after you came to Canada?
No, I started writing very young. I wrote my first song when I was when I went to the army in Cuba. I was 17 years old.
Oh.
Yeah, I went to the army,
Mm-hmm.
and it was interesting because all the time, this melody, these lyrics come to me, and I was in the 45 days, the first 45 days they give you intense training, and so you're allowed to have a visit every Sunday. It was like Wednesday, and I was like, oh my God, and I was so hard trying to memorize the song until Sunday that my dad came to visit with me, and he brought a guitar with him, and I was like, okay, give me that. So I started playing what I had in my mind, oh yeah. And they were like, what's that? It's something that I started writing on Wednesday, and man. And that was it for me. I haven't stopped writing from that point forward. It's a very natural thing for me.
What is your writing process? Are you someone who starts with lyrics, or do you start with a musical idea, or?
Usually it's a melody what begins the writing of a song for me. A melody that of course grabs my attention. Oh, this is I like this. Wait a minute. And then as soon as I start paying attention to it, I start hearing already words, And then and it's funny because the character of the melody it tells me what the song wants to say. It's not that that then after I have composed the whole melody, then I think what to say with it. It's usually a very close, a very short amount of time, between the melody getting completely realized in my mind and the beginning of the lyrics. In other words, when I write music for myself, I have two. I can say it this way. I think I have two different personalities when writing songs, when writing music. When I write for myself, it's a whole different thing. And when I write for somebody else, with somebody else, it's a whole different thing too. Mm-hmm. So for me, the songs that I like, the music that I record, is what comes to me when I'm not thinking. It's what flows through me, And for other people, you go to a writing session, and you have to know, how to turn that switch on and say, let's write a song. What do you want to write about? Oh, I want to write about, and then we begin something. I always go try to find a chord structure that is unique, that has something cool in it before a melody comes down. But those are two complete different ways of writing.
And this latest album of yours, the one that's coming out in September, was that largely collaborative work? Because you have other guest artists on the album, singers. But did you write the songs together with these artists as well, or?
Some of them, yeah, some of them. Many of the melodies I already had the songs. I had the song kind of started, already, and then. Yeah, I usually do this. I'm in a songwriting session, and after 20 minutes, nothing's coming down, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, I have something here. So I, reach inside my bag. How about this? Oh, I love that. Yeah, let's finish. You know what I mean? Yeah, take me a lot of times.
Yes, I do know what you mean.
I guess you can't always depend on being struck with inspiration. You have to have other things, like, I guess you collect melodies and scraps of words or pieces as well. And the technology that we have these days is very songwriting friendly, because anywhere you can just fire up your phone and record a melody, right? When I moved to Canada in '99, I remember I was walking down the street, and the melody would come to me, and I had to go find a payphone
and put 25 cents in it and phone my house.
Yes.
And sometimes my wife will answer, hello, and like, no!
I want the voicemail. I want the voicemail.
I'm going to forget the melody. So I call again. And then there I was singing the melody into my phone, you know?
Right.
And then, you know, but
so you were the guy in Smithers always singing into phones.
that was actually down in Victoria. I spent
Okay.
4 years in Victoria first. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, sorry?
Do you think the choices of your chords, do you think there's something specifically to your upbringing in Cuba? Do you think that is different than maybe a North American based guitarist?
Absolutely. I was exposed to a movement in music, you know, through my father, a very harmonically dense, you know, from a guitar sort of movement. It's called feeling. We gave her our own twist on the word. We spell it F-I-L-I-N, feeling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What it is this guitar player who is accompanying a singer, but heavily influenced with jazz and blues and Brazilian, bossa nova or samba, whatever, but very, you know, like... For example, right? Very rich harmonically. So I grew up listening to my dad playing that every day. And I guess when I grew up then and I was 14 and I took the electric bass and I went straight into jazz, that also sort of expanded even further, you know, in terms of harmony. And for me, it's very important that the song has beautiful chord changes. You know, it's very important that the song has nice chords in it, because to me, it's I don't know. It's like it has a lot to do with the DNA of the song. You know, the main DNA of the song is the melody, of course, but the chord changes also give it something, give it authenticity. You know, and if it's no. If you know that, you know, and it's like, I always look for that chord that will make it interesting harmonically. You know, that's my taste on it.
Do you tend to use a certain type of chords, like lots of major sevenths or minor sevenths, or?
Yeah, a lot of 11th, 13th.
Oh, okay.
You know, as well. Yeah. Yeah. Try to expand it. And I gotta tell you, I'm no musically trained per se. I didn't go to school, so I see myself. I've written songs that when they're coming down for me, I can hear the chord in mind, right? But if I try to name it, it's so difficult for me, you know, because it's like I invented this chord, you know, pretty much, you know, and you know.
When you get into the studio with other musicians, do you have somebody else sort of chart out your songs for the other musicians then?
No, the only thing that has ever been charted for my music is the horns, because I play guitar and bass, the guitar and the bass.
Oh, okay. So fine.
All of my like so. Yeah. Anyway, it's so weird how a song can make you discover a new voicing on the chord.
Yes.
Have you guys feel that? Have you guys experienced that before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I love that.
So do you sort of start off with basic chords and then kind of expand on them, or are you working, you know, immediately with the 11ths and the 13ths and the?
No, I think I immediately hear the chord, at least the first two ones or what, you know.
Right.
But I also have written starting from a riff, that I can hear in my mind, like something like that. And then from there, yeah, it's I have to say something about songwriting. It's so magical. It is so magical. I still have, after 7 albums, I can't quite describe it. It just happens on its own. It's like, I guess it has a lot to do with what you were exposed to when you were growing up. If you listen to good music, if you read good poetry, all of that, shows up later on. I think it's the only explanation you can give it.
Do you, sorry.
I was going to say, over the course of your 7 albums, has the way you changed, the way you write music, has that changed? And do you see a change or a progression or in what you write?
It was common for me when I started my first 2 albums. The songs hardly have a bridge in them.
Mm-hmm.
Bridge is something that I never heard inside my. I never craved. I never pay attention to it. And my first 2 albums, you can hear that hardly, maybe one song have a bridge. But then, as I started, collaborating with other songwriters and stuff, and realizing, a lot of the songwriting, technically speaking, I guess I started paying more attention into creating bridges and enjoying them. And now you can hear, a lot of bridges happening.
Is that also reflected in how your taste in what you listen to has changed over the years?
I have to say maybe, because the truth is that and I don't want to come across looking too weird. The truth is that I hardly listen to music.
Really?
I hardly listen to music. I feel that the listening that I did when I was growing up, in my years of really going at it musically, because I became fascinated with jazz through the bass. I became fascinated with Jaco Pastorius. I used to play a lot of his pieces. I feel that it's a library. It created a library of music inside my head that is still producing for me. It's still giving me a thing, and for me to go find something voluntarily today, music-wise, I don't think it doesn't happen that way. I'd rather get surprised, like I'm at an airport or waiting for something, whatever, and I hear something over the speakers, and I Shazam it, and it tells me what it is because I liked it, and then I go and listen more of that. But I find that I find that I like going back to the classics. I don't know why. They contain certain amount of magic in them that I can quite still get enough from it. So
what are the classics for you?
The classics, like I said, I was a jazz player for a long time. So I did a lot of the American song, standards book of jazz, right? But then when I started expanding at the same time when I was growing up in Cuba, we had an incredible movement of what was called Nueva Trova, New Trova, Nueva Trova, led by people like, I don't know, Silvio Rodriguez, our Bob Dylan, for example, and Pablo Milanés and all of that. And there was some amazing music happening that way. So I was, in one hand, listening to jazz, and on the other, listening to amazing Cuban singer-songwriters, And then in my latest year, when I moved to Canada, I was 24 when I moved to Canada. That's when I discovered the music of, Johnny Mitchell, the music of Bill Withers, James Taylor, you name it. And then, of course, I started paying more attention. But I feel, when I write, that I still come at it from my jazz years. Yeah, because what he did, I was a bass player and I love soloing and all that. And what the bass did to me was create a voice inside of me a melodic voice, so that now basically for me to write a song is to create a jazz tune and then put some words in it. No, just something like that. I don't know. Not exactly that, but it has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it ends up, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Alex, about your lyrics. I mean, you have the Bill Withers cover, but do you do most of your songs in Spanish, or like do you write songs in English as well?
No, I don't write in English yet.
No?
I could start something. I hear this idea, whatever, and I put it down, but I always will finish with somebody else, expanding, helping me be as cool as I am in Spanish, in English.
Is that what it comes down to? You feel like you can write poetry, you can be poetic in Spanish, but you can't do that in English? Is that?
Well, once in a while, I get something super cool in English, because of the English being the second language. Sometimes you take a look at it in a way that an English-speaking person would not see it.
Yes.
And I like a super cool metaphor or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen all the time. That happened to me in reverse when I worked with Nelly Furtado.
Oh.
We were writing Spanish for her. And she said, can I get this word inside the song? Because she just loved the sound of it. I'm like, that's a word that I will never write into one of my songs, huh?
What was the word?
Arruga. Arruga.
Right.
Arrugas, which means wrinkles.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the way she said it, she said, I just love the sound of the word. She said, "Whatever, you're going to sing it. I'm not going to sing it."
Love to get Nelly on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But it made me look at it that way, so it happens the same, for me in English. But still, it's not enough to write like a full song and feel confident about it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's such a sensitive.
So, and you said you're going to play, what is it? Solomia.
Yeah. So this is off the newest album, is that right?
Yeah.
Now, when you put together the songs for an album, like, do you have a concept for an album, or is an album just a collection of your songs? Because you've done, one album was all duets. Like, do you have a concept for an album sometimes, or is it?
I usually just collect music, collect songs, write, and then when I have at least 20 songs, to feel comfortable, that's when I said, okay, I think I have an album here, and then I start making demos of all of it. And then from there, we choose 10 or 12 songs, whatever stick together better, sonically, harmonically, conceptually, right? Like even the words.
Because on this new album, on Sublime, it seems like are they all duets? They're all duets, right?
No, I have 6 duets. Half of
6
it.
duets, okay.
6 duets? Yeah. Half of it is duets, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like I said, a concept per se. I never think of it before the music, because I let the music sort of lead the way, know.
Oh, great. Well, let's hear
anyway,
let's hear one, please.
Solomia.
The reason why I chose this song is because it has a little bit of a different structure. It's not your traditional structure that you can say, oh, this is the pre-chorus, this is the chorus. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it just happened like this. I wrote this song in 2 hours with a friend of mine, with the singer that is singing it with me on the album down in Mexico. We sat down, and here we go. This riff came down to me. I was playing one of his guitars, and he goes, "What is that?" And I don't know. I guess your guitar is giving it to me right now. I said, I like it. And that's all it took for me, to start with this melody. Déjame esta noche estar contigo y te muestro el sol que no has podido ver. Déjame con ansias consolarte y decirte que si hay vida en Marte, ven. Déjame jugar, enamorarte, el juego donde el corazón se parte. 100. Déjame intentar ir a buscarte, de tus propios miedos rescatarte. Ven. Déjame cantarte en la mañana para que te den más ganas de un café. Déjame dejar en tu ventana flores frescas para perfumar la fe. Déjame quemar a fuego intenso esos dos recuerdos que quieres perder. Déjame llegar a donde el tiempo traiga por sorpresa un mítico placer. Busco con mis dedos entregarte el mundo, que se acorte la distancia un paso a la vez. Busco que tú sepas que en tu voz me inundo, busco mis palabras como hacerte comprender. Yeah, yeah. Say, ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Today, déjame esta noche estar contigo y te muestro el sol que no has podido ver. Déjame con ansias consolarte y decirte que si hay vida en Marte, ven. Busco con mis dedos entregarte el mundo, que se acorte la distancia un paso a la vez. Busco que tú sepas que en tu voz me inundo, busco mis palabras como hacerte comprender que eres solo mía. Ahora una necesidad que yo no tenía, la más dulce realidad eres la manía que no quiero eliminar y nunca querría. Ya lo tienes que aceptar, eres solo mía. Ahora una necesidad que yo no tenía, la más dulce realidad eres la manía que no quiero eliminar y nunca querría. Ya lo tienes que aceptar. Eres solo mía.
Lovely. That was great.
What a great tune.
Tasty.
There's
Love it.
something, you did something so cool. It's like you have a hook on the end of almost every line that da 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 da. You know, you have this little sort of you have a like a rest, and then you have this like sort of response line to the first line, and you kind of echo that all the way through, and it's so tasty because it's like there's like a hook on every line, which is so important, you know.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I invite all of you guys to go, and of course, people that are watching, to check out the video on YouTube. This Alex Cuba, Leonel Garcia.
I will do that.
Yeah.
I have a question from listening to the album version. The production is really interesting. It sounds so close and intimate, which is perfect for this song. Like when you produce, how involved are you in the production of your albums? Do you bring in a lot of production ideas, or do you work with the producer and take their ideas? How does that work for you?
Well, I have co-produced all of my albums, except this latest one. I produced it entirely myself. I did a lot of demos before I went to studio, and I decided to play all instruments on this album because the demos finally gave me what I was looking for. I've been doing demos and always loving the vibe, that I get on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it's time to go to the studio, something changes, and I ended up either working with two more musicians or whatever, and that magic sort of, that idea of me playing everything sort of, goes away. So it was until now, this album, that I said, I want to do it. And I got to take this out of my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a lot of demos, and I loved the demos. And I said, you know what, whatever. The instrument that gave me the hardest time was, of course, because I'm not a percussionist, it was playing congas.
Mm.
I did all of the congas on the album in one day, in about 6 hours. I worked with an amazing engineer. He got me comfortable all the way through,
Mm-hmm.
But when I was done playing the congas, I had blood blisters everywhere in my hands.
Yes.
That's a long time to be playing congas if you're not a conga player.
Yeah.
And they gave me ice baths in the studio. I don't know if do you guys know who Garth Richardson is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's the son of Jack Richardson too, right?
Yeah. I went to his studio here in Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I needed to do the album because I had some grant money from the province.
Yeah.
I needed to do it in BC, so I hired an engineer in Toronto, John Vito Bailey. I don't know if you know him, and brought him to BC, and we had a blast. 10 days in the studio, and I couldn't be any happier. The album was more than I expected. The recording.
Right. Well, it sounds great.
Yeah,
it's
it sounds really
nice
good.
record.
It's interesting you say that, because the way that you were talking about your chord vocabulary and even the way that you play your guitar is very particular to you, and it's your personality, it's your thing coming through. And you're right. If you go into a session and you got some other guitarist who may very well be very talented, they're not playing it with your vibe, with your energy, with the exact way you play it. So it's gonna feel different, right?
It's interesting how the more technology we get, the more advanced technologically we get, the more necessary it is for us to put our imprint on things, because anything can be mimicked except what really is unique to you, That's the way it feels to me, It's like, and now with the pandemic, I've been recording myself at home, and then sending the tracks to the same engineer in Toronto, and he's mixing my stuff. He's loving it because I'm grabbing vibe, by myself. And I don't think I will ever go back to studio.
Oh well,
it's dead for me. I'm gonna record everything myself and then just getting a mixer,
Yeah,
that's the way to do it. I just wanted to. Can you talk about the chords that you used in that song? Because I thought they were really interesting. They're not just this open G type thing.
Yeah, and also I'm creating a sound because I'm muting the guitar with my right hand.
Yeah, when I first heard it, I thought it was almost like you were playing a thumb drum, like that African percussion.
Yeah. It's just A major 7 to this kind of funny D, minor D. With
Like there's other guitarists who talk that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then B minor. And this funny E.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love that one. Those two are great.
It's the turnaround chord.
Yeah. But then when it goes into the final chorus, because it has like it's like a big outro, something that never happens before on the song. And towards the end, it goes like, ahora una necesidad que yo no tenía, la más dulce realidad eres la manía, que no quiero eliminar y nunca querría, ya lo tienes que aceptar. Eres solo mía. Yeah.
Yeah, so nice.
Yeah, it's really extraordinary how it's like the song is like with those verse hooks, like tension, 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 a little bit, and then at the end it just blossoms like this flower, right? You got the perfect rhymes all over the place at the end, and the chords open up and everything. It's really quaint. And you're absolutely right. It is a unique structure in that way, in that there's not a reprise of anything. It's just the verse, and then a coda.
Thank you. My publisher in Mexico is like, dude, I don't know what you did in that song, but it's different. It keeps it keeps your attention, and then you can't stop listening. Like, well, and the thing about it is that, in my experience, structures like that, you can't make them up. You have to be born that way. They are just born. What you can do, if you have the experience, of course, is realize that the fact that it's different is great, and then embrace that, But it's not, I'm going to do something different where most of the time it doesn't work.
Yeah, but if you try to do another song that mimics that, it'll never be as good as the first one you did, right?
Well, I think that, one of the issues with some kinds of jazz is that, it's like people are trying to be different and they're trying to find new chords, and it can be kind of a bit clashy where your stuff, everything seems so natural, like the melody and the chord movements, they never seem forced. It just seems like natural, even though they're unusual chords and unusual structures. It's so wonderful to listen to.
Once I heard somebody read to me a quote from John Coltrane, and it resonated with me a lot. He said that John Coltrane's definition of talent is what the ability to make something complicated sound simple. That resonated with me so much, because I'm trapped in the way I play guitar. I can't just change. And it hurts. I gotta be honest with you. When somebody said no, simply that chord is what can we change this chord from this one and just play a natural one? When we know that one note on the chord is making it more beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And then it hurts that I have to change it, to please somebody or whatever. So we can make that up, and that's the way I am, the way you are, that's what you have to do. And I have funny things that happened to me throughout my career. I have hired musicians, in different places, on the spot sometimes to do like a little promotional campaign or something. And one time I was in LA, and I found this super famous bass player, and he's Cuban too. And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, if you pay me this much, I do it. Yeah, your music is not that complicated. I will get to it later. No, not a big deal. I'm pretty sure I get it done in no time." He called me back an hour later to ask me what the hell I was playing. One specific.
What are those chords?
Yeah, dude, what the hell are you playing on? Oh my God, dude! I'm like, yeah, I thought you were being a little bit too. I knew this was gonna happen.
Don't get cocky.
But I love. And like I said, I love chord progressions. I haven't said this, but I'm going to say it now. One thing that I love about having a unique chord progression in a song is that people can't guess it. You don't know where they go. And then every time you listen, you hear it's new. Now the trick is that the song have to be catchy, but it's possible to be catchy over a chord structure that people can't that easily guess.
Yes.
Because I've been used, billions of times.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm very proud in the music that I do, is that all of it surprises you. And pushing the envelope, that's what it's all about for me. Pushing it, pushing it, try to get something done right.
Well, it's unfortunately, but I think I hear the band, because that means that's all the time we have tonight on Song Talk Radio. And yes, I know it went on longer than what we should have. Special thanks to Alex Cuba for stopping by, Alex. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Alex.
Great.
I hope you'll come back again because you got like so much musical knowledge in your brain. We'd love to suck more of it out. So where can listeners get more of your music?
Oh, it's available everywhere in all of digital platforms, of course. People can also visit my website, alexcuba.com. Follow me on social media, Alex Cuba on Twitter. I am Alex Cuba on Instagram. I usually post quite a bit of music. I like, filming myself playing a song and just give it to my fans,
Nice.
quite often.
Nice.
Just to keep the honesty going, to keep it real,
Yeah, that's great.
That's
So
what
why
it's all
don't
about.
you, so out there, all the listeners out there, send us your impressions via on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Song Talk Radio, or send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca. Also, be sure to check out the YouTube channel for live performances, videos, full episodes, and please stop by the site at songtalk.ca. Subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider, and don't forget to sign up for the free newsletter. You can find the links to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned here on the show on the resources page. And if you happen to be, you don't have to be in Toronto anymore, you can come out to our next Song Talk meetup on Monday, August 24th from 7 to 10 p.m. And it's going to be online on Zoom. It's free to join on meetup.com. So stop by Song Talk for the link, and you can join us there.
7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Eastern time, and it's a lot of fun. The last one was great. Got a lot of great knowledge. Also, a big thank you out there to Vanessa Reland for her help keeping us all on track. And most of all, we'd like to thank you, the devoted listener. You can follow me at the Phil Emery. And how about Neil?
NeilModi.com.
And Mr. Michael?
Proudfoot420 on Instagram. And I just started following you, Alex. So thanks for the shout.
Awesome.
And Alex, yours? You're at alexcuba.com.
Yeah, my website, yes.
That's fantastic. And stop by the website at songtalk.ca to browse past shows and find out how you can be a guest on this very show. Stay safe, everyone, and keep on writing. Good night, on.
So long.
Bye-bye, guys.